Hi, I'm Sean,
I'm Rhonda.
and we're excited to be with you today to talk about parenting together. And this is parenting as a team.
As couples, we need to be on the same page about where we're going with parenting, and especially beginning with babies and toddlers or young children. That can be a challenging phase for a couple regarding their marriage relationship.
If one of the parents is staying at home, there's going to be some special needs there. So needing to know how for that person that's staying at home to have self-care, and this is maintaining their own sense of taking care of themselves.
We want to remember that when somebody stays at home raising the children, they haven't had adult input possibly all day long, and it's taxing. And I think so many times people don't take into account when they work outside the home how exhausting it can be, because there's work to be done with babies and toddlers.
Oh yeah, you need emotional support. It's a pretty challenging task, and so making sure that you're supporting your spouse appropriately.
You could offer help in the evenings or on the weekends. You don't want to look at, well, I worked all day while you were here at home, but both parties worked all day. And so if there's work still to be done in the evening or on the weekends, you want to be kind of splitting that up together.
Because one of you didn't get that outward recognition, I guess you'd say, being
Right.
paid. You want to make sure that you're not coming across in a dismissing or minimizing the importance of that role. And I think society does its fair share of minimizing that. So in the home, we want to make sure that we're making sure our partner feels supported and that it's an important role.
When I stopped being a pharmacist to be a stay-at-home mom, I did deal with a self-esteem issue there, a shift in the way people looked at me and the way I looked at me. And so when we don't get paid for what we do and we're stuck at home all the time, it can be easy to not see I'm investing in a soul. I'm investing in an individual here. And so we want to keep our focus on what we're actually doing.
We need to make sure that we are sharing financial power and that we are realizing that if one spouse is mainly the earning the income, that the financial decisions are not just made by that one.
Right.
This is something that's going to be equal with both of them, and they need to be working together as a team. And another area to consider, we call it a concubine role. You want to make sure that husband isn't treating his wife just like she's available there to serve his needs and take care of him sexually or in whatever way, but that also that he's treating his wife as an equal partner.
Too many times we see in the church that dominating idea of men, like a worldly twist on what the Bible says, and she's basically a great cook, housekeeper, taking care of the children, but she doesn't get to share in decision making. And it's like that's her job, but that's not to minimize her. She should be able to have a say about the income and all as well.
Whenever a final decision is made about something, you need to make sure the outcome is a we decision, not just a he or a she decision.
For the person that worked outside the home, they may need a brief transition after the work day. They might want to connect first, and then both parties are going to need a little bit of downtime. And this doesn't mean the whole evening. Sometimes we'll hear people that they take the whole evening off because they worked all day. But we're talking maybe 20 minutes.
Both parents are working. Obviously, balancing the chores and responsibilities around the house and in parenting is going to be a necessity.
Then you look at tweens, teens, young adults, and loosening the apron strings at an appropriate pace. I think with we have 5 children. With our older 2, we didn't do that and had a lot of challenges. We were very strict. It's not great to be very strict or very loose. So finding some middle ground where it's okay for them to fall on their face is a good idea, in the safety of the boundaries of home, not in a bad way.
Obviously, overseeing electronics is a huge area of discussion and a need to be on the same page as a couple about how that's going to happen.
They're going to make mistakes. So we have to choose our battles and not let everything be a battle. We might just want to work on the top 2 or 3 items.
So being on the same page is going to be in front of the children, coming across in a supportive way of the other person, of the other spouse.
You know, we can have our discussions and decision making in private, you know, but if something comes up in the moment that, hey, I'm not on board, I don't, you know, we're catching somebody maybe being overly harsh or something, it's really okay to ask, can we talk about this and then make a decision? And you want to honor
Talk
that.
about it in private.
We can change a decision. It's okay to say, I'm sorry to our children.
Yeah.
I made a mistake. We're not going to do it that way. We're going to shift and do it this way.
Right. And it's important that we're maintaining that relationship with each of our children, because it's easy to get busy with the mechanics of parenting and the chores and all the daily routine.
I was guilty of that for sure. But overcommitting, we need to be careful that we are allowing time, downtime even, with our children so we can stay in touch in those relationships, because it can be too easy to overlook the child's goals, dreams, and purpose, and we should be connecting with and supporting those.
You know, our children are not just clones of us. They're their own individual person who has their own individuality. And so we need to make sure that we're helping them thrive and flourish in the calling and things that God has placed on their lives.
You know, something I wish people had told me about that we discovered after our older 2 went through 9 prodigal years, and we talked to them about that. They were forming their core beliefs in their interactions with us, in their interactions with each other. And who knew that an 8-year-old took that situation and came out with that way of thinking? And so we can be in touch with, so what did that mean to you? How did you define yourself when we went through that difficulty? And kind of staying in touch with where they are emotionally and spiritually.
And the things that they experience in their relationship with you as parents and also with their siblings is going to be part of what shapes their definition of themselves, their relationship with others, with God, and just life in general.
We want to model the fruit of the Spirit, not the flesh. And we want to model relationship with God because they're going to copy what we do day in and day out.
We need to be asking ourselves, you know, who am I yielding to? Am I yielding to myself, or am I yielding to God in this relationship?
We don't want our children's choices, especially when they become late teens and adults, to impact our own identity. They do have the right to make choices, but we can intercede for them and see God work in their lives.
You know, there's so many areas that we need to be aware of that are taking place as we're raising our children, to allowing them to grow into the person that God created them to be.